Hi guys, I'm Rodrigo from Digitech Zone, and today we are looking at the brand new DJM S11. The successor of the DJM S9 from Pioneer DJ, of course, and with a lot of improvements. This is not just some new little knobs, some new firmware, a few small new features. It's a whole new mixer basically. So the Pioneer DJM S11 is, as I said, the successor of the S9, and there are big changes here. So most important changes are around the performance pads. You have now larger performance pads, and you have the possibility to set each channel separately. So each performance pad group can be changed independently from the other, which is much more in line with how DJ controllers work, and that makes it for any DJ controller DJ upgrading to this mixer a lot more logical when working with the mixer. And the second big thing is the addition of that very nice and very bright and qualitative LCD screen. It's a 4.3 full color LCD screen, and it can do a lot of stuff. So let's start on the top of the unit. You have your channel selectors, you have two USB ports. You can plug in two computers, of course, into this mixer, as is usual compatible mixer these days. And you have also all the channel knobs in one single line, unlike the S9 where you had two clusters. That's much easier to work with. On each side, next to the screen, of course, you have the browse section, which is nice and large. You have the browse knob and the load and back button. You have a very nice auto loop section. Your FX section is also well located with those very nice pedals. I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. The performance pads and your actual fader section, bottom of the mixer, with the Magwell Fader Pro and the two line faders, which are butter smooth, really well designed, and with a lot of controls here on the front plate of the mixer in order for you to be able to change everything that you need to change regarding the stiffness and the curves of all those faders. This mixer is, first of all, you can see 3 and 4. It's a 4-deck mixer, so you can mix 4 decks at the same time on this mixer. That's great. It also works on Rekordbox DJ next to Serato DJ Pro. It works on Rekordbox DJ, and it also works with Traktor, albeit on Traktor you don't have the support of the screen, so you have to do without the built-in screen when you're using Traktor. But on Rekordbox DJ and on Serato DJ Pro, you have always full integration, of course, with the screen. Make sure that if you buy this mixer, that you have the latest version of Serato, or it won't work, but that speaks for itself. So let's start with the screen. What you see there right now is the kind of the home section of the screen, where you can go any direction that you want. Be aware, it's a small screen and there is a lot of functionality hidden in this mixer, so it can get a little bit confusing, can get a little bit difficult to find your way, but with time you will certainly find your way quickly to all the functionalities. So the waveform view allows you to see your tracks. That's pretty handy to have, and it's right in front of you, and it's extremely useful, of course, to have the waveform there. So that's one thing. That's obvious that you have that there. They're parallel vertical waveforms that you have, of course, due to the limited size. It's the only way that those waveforms can be displayed. You have also a browse section. So if you touch the browse knob, you can easily browse between tracks on your computer, and you can go to all your folders, of course. Very handy, and load your tracks. You can even load them simply by sliding into the deck. That's also very handy and very quick. So that's the first view that you have on the screen. Then you have the Touch MIDI view, and that's very, very expensive, so where you can change a lot of options of the mixer connected to the software. Everything from key lock, key up, key down, to the sync status of each deck. You can set your silent cue, you can sync, you can do a tempo reset, quantize, etc., etc. So it offers a lot of options, fixed settings that you can set from this specific view. Then I want to go into the deck settings, because when you click on one of those deck settings, you get an extended menu where you can actually manipulate deck 3 and deck 4 completely from the mixer. And for that you have different screen views basically. For example, you can have a simple view where you can launch a track that's connected to deck 3. I have now loaded something in deck 3, and if I launch it, I can launch it immediately. And for example, of course, I can control the volume because I have a channel fader here immediately from the software. That's pretty cool. One of the nice things that you have here is that you can actually move decks from one side to the other. For example, let's say I have here a track playing on deck 2. I have this track playing on deck 2, and I actually want to liberate this deck and deck 2 to deck 3 on this side of the mixer, the virtual deck on this side of the mixer, and it's just continue to play. And my deck 2 is free, and I can load up what I want in there. So that's really handy to have that possibility. You can even have 2 decks playing together. So the 2 decks on this side, deck 1 and 3, they can sync up, and then you have what you call dual deck. So I launch my deck 1, I launch my deck 2, and I link them up, and then I have the 2 decks actually linked together, and you will see on the screen. I'm not going to play because they're not synced up, but they are completely linked together, so you can actually go to the hot cues across the 2 decks at the same time. You see it moving there on the screen, and that's also pretty cool because you can control with one channel physical controls. You can control 2 decks at the same time. The possibilities are quite endless regarding that. Moving on to through the screen select, you also have a hot cue view, and you have we already talked about the mashup view, simple view also, and the mixer view. Basically those are the different views, and you have the same thing on the other side, deck 4. If you go there to the mashup view, you will see that you can move from deck 1 and cast it to deck 4. Or brilliant stuff, really, really cool stuff that you can do with this mixer. So moving on to the effects. So there are many ways of manipulating effects in this mixer, and that's really, really cool because you can approach effects on many different levels, and for performance-oriented DJs that's very important, for scratch DJs as well. Everybody knows that a scratch DJ loves their echo, and there are many ways to use echo in this mixer and put it to good work. Let's first check out what we call the touch FX. So the touch FX is simply XY surface on the screen that you can manipulate and touch around to create effects. I can really configure the X and Y axis of the touchpad setting the way I want. Now it's on roll and pitch, as you can see, but I can also put it on echo and filter. And what happens then is that I launch my track. We have the echo and the filter together. sounds like crap, but you get the point. You have two ways of populating what's going on that touch FX. You can have the preset FX, choice between echo, filter and roll and pitch. And the selected will take whatever effect is selected here, for example a flanger, and whatever is selected in the color effects. And these you can also change from the mixer. So for example, now I have a flanger and a filter. Very cool. But you can also go into the FX settings, filter, and choose whatever you want. For example, a noise. And if that's selected, and you go back to your touch FX, also you have a hold mode, and when you put in hold mode, when you press, the effect just continues to impact on the track. That's another way of using it. So those are the touch FX. The FX settings, then everything can be changed. Basically, you can do whatever you want. You have two banks. You have the hardware effects on this side. Of course, you have also the color effects connected to the mixer. You have the hardware effects here, software effects coming from the software on the other side, and you can change them up the way you want. So you can really take the echo and say, okay, I would rather have a ducking echo or an echo out or a spiral, whatever you want. Of course, the name is always fixed. That's not going to change. So if you change the hardware effects, you will have to know what you have put where in order to manage that. Okay. Controlling effects here is really a breeze, because with these pedals, like on the S9, it's really I really love the responsiveness of it all, and the way that Pioneer DJ found ways to make controlling effects so easy and so intuitive. Now, granted, just going back to the touch pad, it's still not a super great responsive screen. So when you move around, you will notice that the refresh rate is pretty crappy. It's not something I would overuse, certainly because the sensitivity, maybe you can configure it better than I did. I didn't really touch the settings or anything, not much anyway. Responsiveness is not the same as you would have a physical pad. You know, a physical, on some mixers you have that, if I'm not mistaken, a physical pad where you can do the same thing. The performance pads. So the performance pads have also a lot of features, and I want to highlight some of these features. That you have a silent Q feature, a basic silent Q feature, but you also have this silent Q feature across all your pads. And it will only release a track. It will only release a track if I press Alt Q, and then the track is released. So this is very handy, because you don't have to. You skip or you avoid that the startup effect that you have on turntables. The motor has to start up, so that's pretty logical. You have that. And with that silent Q feature, you avoid that. Across whatever hot Q that you want, that you have configured for the track. That's pretty cool. So that's a silent Q. Performance pads, as I said, they are bigger, and as I said, you have the possibility to select the parameter that you want per channel. That's very cool. Like on any Serato DJ controller, you have a lot of different functions, like typically roll. You know all those features from other mixers and other controllers. But there is one that is pretty interesting to highlight, is the new scratch bank feature. Activated with Shift Sampler. The scratch bank feature allows you to preset a bank of 8 samples or tracks and assign them to, when you activate the scratch bank feature on one of the channels, they're immediately assigned to the pads, and which means that you can really scroll to them. I just have some samples here, but you can put whatever there. You can put, like I did, some samples, you can put some scratch samples, you can put some tracks, whatever you feel like you can put there, and that's anything that you want can go there. That's pretty cool. You have, of course, all the other usual features that are linked to Serato DJ or to Rekordbox DJ, like the flip function, pitch play, and so forth. Then there is one more really important function that is really well executed on this mixer, is the smooth echo. So the smooth echo, what does it do? It adds an echo out when you close the fader. The thing about the smooth echo is that you can really control when you if you leave it on 0, then it will activate at any point. And that's a bit annoying, of course, if you're scratching, but if you put it on 2, for example, it's my completely awful scratching that I told you, I warned you. The smooth echo doesn't activate, so that's really cool that you can control all those parameters directly in the controller. The mixer also, when it comes to connectivity, is extremely well equipped. You have, of course, all the typical connections that you expect from a professional mixer on the back, like XLR outs, RCA outs, the channel inputs. There are a few things that stand out. Of course, you can connect 2 computers directly to the mixer. You can assign each channel to one of those 2 USB inputs, but also it has a built-in USB hub, and you can just connect quickly 2 CDJs, for example, to the mixer. That means that you can connect 2 CDJs directly to the mixer without going through your computer. So that's also something that's built into this mixer. Then let's discuss a little bit the price. It's $2,000. It's quite a bit of money. You can have the same functionality or similar functionality for a bit less, but Rain's offer is a bit in the same price range, and this is actually, I think, for that price, a very good buy, because it has so much features, and improvements that Pioneer made compared to the S9 are well worth the price, in my opinion. Build quality is great, the faders, as I said, are great, the connectivity is great. As I said, Rekordbox DJ, Serato DJ Pro and Traktor are all supported, and you can use S11 with all those software solutions, and you have a hell of a lot of control over your curve and your faders and everything related to that on the front panel, so that's also a great addition. For who is it in the end? Well, it's a professional mixer, so for pro DJs, scratch DJs, performance-oriented DJs, and I want to make that point as well, is that you don't necessarily need to be a scratch DJ to buy this kind of setup. It's a big joy to play with turntables, with vinyl, with DVS, and with such a good quality mixer. Even if you don't scratch like me, I can tell you I had a lot of fun just mixing tracks and playing around and messing around with the effects and the performance pads and trying out new tricks. You can do so much with this that you are quickly immersed into the functionality. A bit of a nitpick maybe is that the interface is quite complicated, and because you have so many features and you have such a small screen, that can be a little bit of a nuisance to find your way around in the menus. But in the end, well, you get used to it, and it's something that you just have to use and get used to it over time. In the software, you can do a lot of changes. Of course, you can do a lot of setting changes as you wish. There is one thing that is cool, is that you have in the screen settings also day mode. So you can set your mixer to day mode, and then you simply have the day mode feature on all the screen menus and settings, and notably on the waveform, which is really handy. So yeah, that's the DJM S11. My recommendation is, yes, if you are in the market for a performance-oriented mixer, you don't need 4 channels, 4 physical channels, and you need something that kind of brings that performance pad experience from top-end DJ controllers into the mixer world, and you want that screen in front of you just to be able to do everything without looking at your computer, well, I think this is a very good buy, and you can combine it with turntables, with DVS, or you can combine it simply with DJ controllers, like for example the DFC J3000. You need to have the budget, of course, for that, because you end up paying a lot of money for a setup like that. But it's worth it. It's worth it because it's qualitative and it's very competitive in my opinion. So hey, yeah, that's my review. Quick review, I hope, not too long, of the DJM S11. Just leave me a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a comment, tell me what you liked about the review, tell me what you didn't like about the review, and I hope to see you in my future videos as well. See you later, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye!
Hey guys, if you liked the video you just saw, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the red button underneath this video. Also, if you want to be notified, hit the notification bell so you get notifications in your mailbox about new videos that we release. And also, don't forget to give us a like on this video if you liked it, so that the video gets promoted on YouTube and we get more views from it. That would be nice. Thank you so much for doing all that.